Sacred Goddess Hecate, help me to manifest justice in my actions, temperance in my soul, courage in my choices, wisdom in my words, and compassion towards all beings. Hi, my name is Renee Olson. I am the Neuse Witch, and this is Cuppa and Cards. Today we are talking about the 5 virtues. Now these are the 5 virtues of the goddess Hecate that were set into, I guess, action around 2013. So around 2013, as a group project, a group of us got together to decide what were the virtues of the goddess Hecate. And as we started choosing them and selecting the verbiage that we were looking for, we found that they were related to the Platonic virtues of antiquity, and they were just closely related to those things. The 5 virtues that we came up with, of course, were justice, temperance, courage, wisdom, and compassion. And what I wanted to do was cover a series I wanted to have a series, have a series devoted to each one of the virtues so that we could review them and discuss them. Grab your tea, of course, Roobios for me, and let's have our discussion. So I'm just going to set that aside, and now we're going to talk about the 5 virtues, or rather, we're going to talk about compassion. So what is compassion? Compassion is something that resonates with every being, really. It's the ability to care or to care about or empathize with someone else. To me, it's very, it's right, part and parcel, goes right in line with some of our other topics that we've discussed, like nonviolent communication, for example. To me, it's thinking about, is what we're saying true? Is it necessary? And is it kind? You know, is it something that we really want to share with someone else? I've heard the term brutal honesty. I don't think there's such a thing. I believe that in order for you to be truly honest with someone, you have to be coming from a place of caring. You have to be coming from a place of nurturing. If you want to really be someone who can provide support and understanding for other people. So what does that mean exactly when we think about compassion? If we look at the line of the prayer that was created by the members of the Covenant of Hecate, compassion towards all beings, right? All beings. I've had several talks already about empathy and about my choice to be a vegan. I'm not telling you that if you are not a vegan, you cannot follow the goddess Hecate. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you are a person who wants to fill your life with compassion, then you want to be compassionate in all things. You want to have compassionate products. You want to have compassionate friends or compassionate acquaintances. You want to be someone who lives in a state of compassion, or at the very least, you don't want to be causing harm to others. And to me, one of the easiest ways, frankly, the easiest way to stop causing harm in the largest way possible is to be vegan. And the reason I say this is, and I know in other countries it may be different, I don't know where you're tuning in from, but in the United States we have CAFOs and we have industrialized factory farming where animals are treated horrifically. It is absolutely one of the worst things that I have ever seen in my life, and I've seen plenty of it. When we lived in New Mexico, there were several CAFOs there, and just riding by and seeing that it was, I can't even go into how awful it was. But for me, it's one of the easiest things to do, to be cruelty free, right? I stopped wearing makeup years ago, when I found out about all the animal testing and all the things that went on for something that is not even necessary. I mean, at least food people have to eat, right? I don't have to wear mascara. So to me, that was one of the easiest things to do. What do you think about that? How would you say, how would you think, or what do you think would be an easy way to get compassion into your day in a modern world, right? Modern day life. I often hear people comment, well, your vegetables have animal fertilizer and, you know, animals could have been harmed. And what about the bugs? And yeah, I get it. Okay. I get it. It's not 100%. I'm not saying no animals were harmed, but I do what I can to not harm any other living being. So yeah, I include that veganism and a holistic wellness that I try to live by. That means that I try to do for other people. I try to support other people. I try to be there not only in my mundane life, right, for the job that I have that, you know, keeps a roof over my head, but also for the volunteerism that I do. I do quite a bit of volunteering with several organizations. I am a member of the Eastern North Carolina Pagans, and I try to help them with events and things and different, we have different solstice celebrations and holidays that come up. I try to provide assistance for local pagan shops or local metaphysical shops that may need to have a group come out and visit or something like that. So I try to support that way. I also do a lot of work for the Covenant of Hecate, where I help manage their website, and, you know, I help run the monthly meetings, which we're having a monthly meeting this week. So if you're listening and you're a member of the Covenant of Hecate, go to the members forum. We're having a meeting on Saturday. But I do my best to try to live my life in a way that shows compassion for others. It's taken me quite a while to get here. I'm sure if you're someone who's known me for longer than 15, 20 years, you'll know a different me. I was not always this way. And it has taken me quite a while to get where I am. And I'm very pleased with that. I'm very pleased that I'm able to share that with you. When I think about acts of kindness, right? When I think about the things that I need to do in order to be that way, I try to, you know, I am a torchbearer and a keybearer for a Covenant of Hecate, so I do try to shine that light to get her message out, right? I try to get her message out as well as I can, and to be an example for other people. So when we're thinking about compassion and Hecate, we want to think about, why was this word chosen, right? When this group of folks got together and we're deciding on which words we want to use, compassion came up and we're like, yep, tick the box, that's the one. Why did we choose that? I want to look at some of the mythical context, really, about Hecate. So when we're looking at it from some of her better known myths, at least one anyway, we'll talk about the hymn to Demeter, right? After Persephone's abduction, Hecate, she comforts Demeter, she helps her, she supports her during her search. In some versions of the tale, you know, she runs around and helps her, you know, interview, like, you know, she talks to Helios, you know, where is Persephone? You know, what happened? And because he sees everything, right? The sun, he sees all the things. He was able to give the information needed and help Demeter in her search. She wouldn't have been able to find that had it not been for the compassion of Hecate. Seeing Demeter being, you know, distraught, you know, that her daughter was missing and didn't know what happened, she came to her aid, right? She came to her aid to help her understand what had happened, and help her find a resolution. not only that, but as the myth continues, right? And as Persephone takes her place on the throne to rule in the underworld, as the seasons change, as she begins that journey to come down to the underworld and then back up, it's said that Hecate escorts her. So she walks with her down and brings her back. I find that very moving, right? To me, it's a great way that emphasizes the compassion of the goddess. We don't need to really look much further than that, but we will. We're going to delve a little deeper. She's also known, if you look at many of her epithets, she is known as a protector of the vulnerable. So from childbirth to mothers to travelers, she is seen as a companion and guide. There are a plethora of stories related to, or personal stories, when I say this, right? People that I've spoke to who feel as though she provides them with this protection, this compassionate mother, if you will, wrapping her arms around them, her protection around them when they need it. If we look just one other place for this, right? We look at one other view of her role as this compassionate being. We can look into the Chaldean oracles, right? There are, not only in the Chaldean oracles, but specifically there are references to her escorting the dead or being with the souls of the forgotten or the restless dead. Those that are there wandering about, right? She is there to care for them. She is there to guide them where they need to be. I've always seen her, especially when we talk about Hecate and the crossroads, right? When we think about where she is and where they are, there's always that moment when you're in a position that you don't know what to do, you don't know where to turn, when you look for answers, right? And to me, that's when that compassion, right? That compassion comes in, because she's there providing you answers, providing you support. Sometimes those answers are not what you want to hear, right? Just because it's not the answer you don't want to hear doesn't mean it's not an answer. And sometimes silence is an answer, right? So to me, that experience of her being there at the crossroads, her opening her heart and opening the ways that are visible at the crossroads, are all part of that compassionate being. So what do you think? How, in your opinion, have you seen Hecate depict compassion, right? Is there a way that you've seen it? Like we've seen, there's a couple of other myths involving a polecat, where, you know, she brings that animal in and takes her as her own. What do you think? Is there something that you can single out as showing how compassion is a good virtue for Hecate? I want to change gears now, and I want to talk about bringing compassion into the modern world, right? So we've talked about Chaldean oracles, we've talked about Persephone's abduction, we've talked about her epitaphs and how, you know, she is the protector of the vulnerable. But what about today, right? What about in this electronic age that we're in now? I mean, I have my electric lighters. I'm not tacking two sticks together in order to make my fire. So what do you think? Do you think it's different? Do you think there's things that we need to look at differently? What I think about today, about embodying the compassion in our modern world and in our modern lives, I've already mentioned a lot of the stuff that I do for the Coven of Hecate. I've mentioned, you know, some of the other things that I do for my work and my job and, you know, the different groups I belong to. But what can we do outside of that, right? These would be more of a mundane situation when you think about it. It's not really a magical solution. I think that one of the best ways that you can look at bringing compassion into a modern world is looking on that same level of protector of the vulnerable, right? So an example would be maybe a midwife, right? Supporting a woman during childbirth. So whether you're a midwife where you're in someone's home delivering babies, whether you're going to a prison and providing maternal care, or that type of child care for someone who's in a prison or who's in a hospital or a hospice, those are great ways to support someone. Now, there's also something you can do that might seem like it's not that big of a deal, but it is. Does your neighbor have children? Have you offered to support them in some way? Give them a ball. Say hello. Ask if they need to be picked up from school or dropped off from school, or help her be better able to provide care for her children, right? This is a way of supporting her during her child care. I think that a lot of times that we forget as human beings that we do need that communal aspect of life, right? We do need to know what our neighbor's doing and if they need help. We do need to know when they're planning their next celebration, or, if someone is sick and we can give them, a little bottle of soup or a flower or something, right? Showing that little bit of compassion. That child care, that way of providing that support will come back to you. It will come back in ways that you probably can't even imagine right now. Another thing that you can work on, which might be a little more challenging for some, is as a death doula, right? There are lots of people who die alone, right? They don't have children, their spouse has passed away, for whatever reason, they don't have anyone there to be with them when they cross over. So this is one way you can do it. There are professional doulas who go and do this for a living. You could also volunteer, right? There are plenty of hospice centers. I mean, cancer knows no bounds where we are. I mean, here in the South, everybody's on dialysis, everybody's got diabetes, everybody's got cancer. It's really heartbreaking. You could find a way to put yourself in a position to help support those people. Perhaps you don't want to be someone who's directly dealing with death. Our senior homes, our centers, they have tons of people there that could use support. You could always volunteer to go and adopt a senior for a holiday, or, bring a couple of shirts that you would have donated to the thrift store to someone in need there. Working with the less fortunate. So when we talk about working with the less fortunate, we're going to move away from our children, even though they may be in that category as well. But what I'm referring to now is perhaps those that are unhoused, right? Or those that are living in a food desert, for example. One of the things that you can do is find a soup kitchen that might need help. You can volunteer. If you don't want to work directly with someone who's a stranger, you'd rather, kind of be in the background, they have kitchen work. You can peel potatoes, you can open cans, you can sweep the floor. There's all sorts of ways that you can give back in these situations. Habitat for Humanity is a great way. I mean, I understand it's a Christian organization. They may not necessarily, they may like me, who knows? I shouldn't judge, right? But that's one way that you could give back, either shop at their thrift stores, or, donate cash or donate your time to help build houses in your area. Another way that you can get involved is just to do things that support your community, right? Start a Girl Scout troop, start a Boy Scout troop, start a Wildlife Scouts troop. I think there's a Wilderness Scouts troop too. That's a pagan organization. You could look at getting involved with the downtown area. Maybe you want to help plant flowers in an area or something. There's always ways to get involved. We have the ability within us, just by making these small changes, to cultivate compassion, and it will be a very rewarding experience for you. I highly recommend that. So as we're looking through this, I think really what we need to remember is that compassion is one of the core virtues of Hecate. It is something that we stand by in the Covenant of Hecate. It is something that I cherish as a Keybearer and a Torchbearer. It's something that I cherish as a founder of the Sanctuary of Hecate Brimo. Our goal, and what I would like to see everyone's goal, is to strive to embody compassion in your everyday life. Everything you do, find a way to pull that in, and then see how you can help others see the same thing. So that's our talk about compassion. I hope you've enjoyed that. I do want to do our card reading for the day. We're going to pull a card from the River Witch Oracle. Again, this deck is available on my website if you're interested. It's at neuseriverwitch.com. Our card today is, let me hold that up for you, is the South card. Our keywords are passion, forgiveness, and will. So when we're thinking about this card, we want to pull in the energy of the direction of the South. It's fiery energy. It is passion. It is strength. It is the freedom of thought. It is will. When you're going about your day today, look within yourself and pull in that energy, that fiery, and actually compassion fits right in there with that fiery energy. Be someone who you need in your life. Be someone that you would be proud of. When you finish your day today, when you're kicking the boots off and settling in, say that you can write your name down and say, I did everything I could do today to be exactly who I needed to be. I hope you've enjoyed our reading today. I hope you've enjoyed our chat about the 5 virtues. I will be doing subsequent videos. These will include the remaining virtues. I will be posting them on Facebook and on the Covenant of Hecate website. So members, you will be able to see them there. Feel free to leave your comments in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me what you think about compassion. Tell me how you bring Hecate's 5 virtues into your day. I want you to have a fantastic day today. I will speak to you soon.